Hey y'all, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's your girl T, and today I want to give you 5 tips for opening up your salon. Number 1, clients equal money. Listen, if you don't have a certain amount of clients a month, you're not ready. So definitely take time to establish a client base and build your clientele before you decide to move out and open up your salon. So once you've established your client base, now you can determine how much money you're bringing in off of these clients. And that leads us to number 2, budget. Now your budget is gonna be profit and loss, what you're bringing in and what you're spending as far as it comes to your business. I know a lot of times in this industry, we're making money every day, so we're really not thinking about that, but it's so important to know your numbers. Okay, so this is when it gets real. During this process, you will discover needs versus wants and necessity and all that good jazz. You do not need Gucci, Louis, Prada. You need water, lights, food. So it's important to break down needs versus necessities and how much you're spending on these things. This process is gonna be called creating an expense report. A lot of times what we don't think about whenever we're trying to open up a salon is that you now have 2 sets of bills, right? You have your salon bills, so you have lights, water, gas, products, tools, all that under the salon. And then at home you have mortgage, rent, water, lights, gas, trash, food, you have all that stuff. So your expense report is going to tell you what your personal budget is versus your business budget. All right, so that leads me to number 3, finding your location. If you did your expense reports right, if you were realistic, that will let you know what you can afford to get, whether that be a salon suite or an actual standalone building. I mean, shoot, you might even be able to purchase a building by the end of that, but you wanna be realistic. When you're shopping for your location, the things that were really important to me were your space, as far as like the size of the space, parking, how much parking do you have? Clients hate going to a place where they're having to struggle and look for a parking spot. And then they're gonna be late coming to see you. So make sure you have nice parking. You wanna make sure the lighting is good outside and inside. Another thing to consider is build out versus turnkey. So your turnkey location is pretty much you're walking in and all you have to do is bring your stuff. Everything is already there. The other option is doing a build out, which means you literally have to come in and revamp the entire space. But again, your budget will tell you what you can do. Remember, it is okay if you have to start off in a salon suite. I would recommend that you start off in a suite rather than going to do a whole build out and you don't have any clients or you don't have the money to support that. You just need to be smart about your moves. For me, I went from a booth rental situation where I had all of my clients and I did all my numbers, and from there I went into a suite that was kind of in a business building, so like a business park type of situation, and it worked out for me because the suite that I moved into, it was a double. It was $800 a month, and I was able to put 4 people in there, so me and 3 other stylists. So I was able to kind of capitalize off of my space, and it just worked out. So I mean, just be realistic. It's okay if you have to start off in a suite, but take your small steps so that you don't have to like have this major setback because you don't have the money to do what you need to do. All right, so this is for the people that are actually ready to get in a salon space, not a suite, an actual salon space. You wanna make sure your paperwork is in order. For me, I started doing all of this before I even left a booth rental situation in somebody else's salon. So I had a pretty good understanding of, what I can afford to do. But the first thing people love to ask you for is bank statements, a profit and loss statement, and your taxes. I don't even know if we have time to get into all that, but it is so important that you have your behind the scenes business like legit. Sometimes people like to fake on their taxes. That's not the best idea in this situation. So what I did and what I highly recommend that you do is get a tax person. I am a firm believer in staying in my lane. I am not good with numbers. I'm just the creative. So if you have a person that you trust that's good with numbers, or you can find a good tax accountant that fits your budget, definitely do that. So what she helped me do was create my profit and loss statements. She did my taxes the correct way, filed me under like a S corporation, and I mean all that stuff that you don't think about, you probably don't know, because I know I don't know. She did that for me. So when it was time to get my realtor, all I had to do was just hand off the information and I was all set. All right, so one more thing I want to talk about. If you do not have a website, like a legitimate website, then you need to get one, and here's why. When I first got started, I went through 2 different realtors. First realtor, I felt like he was picking on me and being a stickler, but it's like necessary. He just wanted to make sure I was legit. So they asked me for my website and I didn't have one. So I had to hurry up and find a web developer, have them create my website. The realtor was asking me, where are you at on your website? It was a lot. So just make sure that you have a legit website. I think a lot of times we think just because we have Facebook or Instagram that that's enough, but people really want to see that you're well put together. They want to see you have business hours. They want to see your service prices, what services you provide. They want to see all that. So make sure you get a website. Make sure that your web developer is not creating the website on their platform, because if you do that, they have complete control over your website. Make sure you get your own domain, and make sure that they're building it on a platform where you have your password and you can go in and, you know, tweak stuff if necessary, because things change all the time. When I changed locations, I had to change my location on my website. If I was still working with this other web developer, she was charging me like $150 a month with unlimited changes, versus me just paying, you know, $1,000 and getting my own password, and I can just fix it myself whenever I need to. So that's a good tip. Also, I highly recommend that you guys get a realtor. Again, I said I believe in staying in my own lane. I don't know anything about that, so I got a realtor that I feel really heard me out. I expressed my concerns, my needs, my wants, and she definitely was on the job. She is a commercial real estate agent, not a residential real estate agent. So the difference between the two, your residential is gonna be looking for homes, versus commercial, they're looking for actual business buildings. So with all that being said, I feel like she was able to go in and articulate what I needed in my lease to make it work for me. There's a lot of pitfalls that you can kind of get stuck into when it comes to contracts. So being that she does this for a living, she was able to look at that contract and say, no, let's redline this. Oh, no, we're gonna ask for that. You know, just to make sure that you're getting the best out of your lease, because if you're gonna be there for a while, you might as well, you know, have things in order. So that's definitely a huge tip that I would recommend for getting your space. Get a realtor. And that leads us into number 4. So with that being said, you want to figure out, do you want to be booth rent or do you want to be commission? And the difference between the two is your booth rental salon, they pay you as independent contractors for the space that they're doing hair in. So you set the weekly amount or monthly amount or whatever, you set that rate and they pay you that weekly or monthly, and that's it. You're capped at that. Versus commission, they're paying for the space that they're doing hair in, but you're providing products, you're providing marketing, you're providing just about everything. So you just want to make sure that you kind of outweigh your pros and cons when it comes to booth rental versus commission. So number 5, after you have done all of this, you have to pick the people. You do not want to do all of this hard work just to get people that are going to run your salon, your brand into the ground. It is so important to make sure that you take your time in selecting the correct crew, because it can really make or break your space, your brand. For me, I made sure that when I did my budget, picked my space, that I could afford to be up in here on my own if I needed to. Because if there's like one bad apple, it could like legit ruin everything. You just want to make sure everybody meshes well. You want to make sure that you take time in your interview to kind of make sure that you can not just get the representative, but see what the real person is like, so that you can, pick a good crew. And sometimes it'll take a minute, but just be patient. It's better to take a while to get the right people than to just have a shot full of craziness. All right, so that's it, guys. That's my 5 tips for opening up a salon. Please be sure to subscribe, like, comment, turn on your notifications so you can see the newest videos, and I will see you guys soon.